Okay, good morning everybody. So just note, we're just doing a warm-up stretch routine. This is very basic for rehab. If you're going through a stretch, you should only feel pulling. You shouldn't get to a point of pain. If you get to a point of pain, kind of back off on the stretch, ease off on it, or we can work on some different variations that you can go through. So let's just get warmed up for each joint. So just starting with some head turns side to side, bring the head down nice and slow and controlled. And making sure whenever we're doing any movements or stretching exercise that we are breathing deeply. And for anyone doing this at home, we typically try to do 8 to 10 for any of the dynamic movements, and then all stretches we'll try and hold for about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how tight the muscles are. Okay, then doing some shoulder rolls. Let's get the shoulder blades moving. Try and get as much movement as you can. And then rolling the opposite direction. All right, then go arms out to the sides, doing some small circles, nice and controlled, and just gradually make the circles bigger and bigger. If you're having shoulder pain with this one, you can alternate with pendulums down in a low position. For now, going up to as large of a circle as you can. And then we're gonna switch directions. So starting small once again, going opposite direction. Gradually make them bigger and bigger. All right, then we're just gonna go give yourself a nice big bear hug. We're just gonna do little rotations for the upper back. Just going side to side. Bring your head over with each direction that you're turning. And same thing, make sure you breathe each time you move. All right, first stretch you can do, keep your head nice and centered. We're gonna tilt ear to shoulder. And then bring your chin down in the same direction. You should get a nice stretch across the opposite side. And then if you want to, you can add a little more to the stretch by pushing gently forward on the head. If you are pulling forward, try and use the arm that you've turned towards to keep the opposite side relaxed. And switch sides. So once again, ear to shoulder, then bring the chin down in the same direction. All right, next one you can do is try and tuck your chin, make yourself a double chin. So you can try and drive the head back. And what you can do is you're gonna take your hands right onto the base of the skull and try to rotate upwards, almost like you're pulling your head up. So if you're not able to do this for the shoulders, you can always push back on the chin. But once you have that pull up, you can also pull the elbows in together, just add a little more stretch through the upper traps. Keeping that position, pull your elbows apart, try and open up the chest a little. Same thing, keep the chin tucked and head back. All right, then for next one, you can do is go one arm up overhead. You're gonna pull across, push down on the elbow and onto the forearm. What you can alternately do is find a wall, go right up against the wall for this. Try and bring your side against as far as you can, and however far you can get up, you can go into the stretch that way. And then switch sides. Okay, next one we can do is bring an arm across the chest in front. You can gently pull across, gently let your shoulder blade relax here. And switch sides. Same thing, try and keep the shoulder relaxed. Make sure in this one, especially you're not hiking the shoulder up. Just let it all sink down. All right, then, next one you can do, find something to put an arm onto. We'll go hand at head height to start. And for this one, you want to keep your elbow a little bent and pointing down at the ground. From here, you can turn out and try to open up the chest. And this just go as far as you feel comfortable with. And make sure that you are getting the stretch through the actual chest in front and not just in the shoulder. If you're getting in the shoulder, play with your elbow position. You can even try and raise the arm up a bit. You want to get the pec. All right, and then switch sides. Do the same thing, hand at the same height as the other side. Whatever you can do for there. Make sure turn out, open up the chest. arms straight up in front. We can use a wall, mirrors, whatever's around. Just go straight up in front, and from here you're tilting yourself forward. You can play with how high your shoulder is, but tilt forward, trying to get a stretch through the pec again. Once you have that, then rotate out to the side a little. And switch sides. All right, you can come back in. And we'll go for a forearm stretch next. You can go palm up in front. For this one, try and keep your arms straight. And we're gonna grab not just the fingers, but also the palm. Try and get both, and curling backwards. And remember, just going for a nice pull. If you're getting to a pain point, ease off on the stretch. Your variation for this, if you can't reach over and pull, you can always find something to anchor against. And switch sides. So same thing, make sure we've got a bit of the palm and the fingers. All right, we're going to flip hand the opposite direction. We're going for an extensor stretch. So this one you can play around with your elbow rotation, try and find the best stretch to the back of the forearm. Same thing, if you need to, you can anchor against something and try and get into that stretch. And switch sides. All right, so let's go into some lower body warm-up motions, and then we can go into some stretching. So where you are, just start with some ankle rotations on one side. Try and almost draw some circles with your ankle. And then we're going to change the direction. And then switch sides. And switch directions. All right, then if you need to, you can hold on to something for balance, but we're gonna be going knee up, out to the side, back in and down. Just alternate sides here. Try and get your hips opened up as best you can. Okay, and then go into a moderate to wide stance, whatever you're comfortable with, and we're just going to shift side to side. Just start with gentle shifting. Try and push the hips side to side, feel out all the tight spots. And you can try and go a little deeper each way. If you really want to, you can try even widening out your stance now that you warmed up a little bit. Just see how deep you can get into each side. All right, and what we'll do next is find something to lean against. You can use a wall, machine, whatever's around. We're gonna go one leg straight behind. You're gonna be leaning forward, trying to keep the back leg as straight as you can, heel on the ground, and foot straight. You can go until you feel stretched through either the calf or into the back of the knee. And we'll just hold there. And switch sides. So same thing, heel on the ground, foot pointing straight forward, try and get that back leg straight, and then lean forward until you have a good stretch through mainly the upper part of your calf to the back of the leg. And then we're gonna just bring the feet a bit closer together. You're gonna do stretch here for the bottom part of the calf. You're gonna bend the back knee now. You should feel this one through the lower portion into your soleus. Same thing, you can still lean against the wall for this. And try and keep that back heel on the ground. And switch sides. So same setup, feet a little closer together, bending the back knee now though. All right, you can go down onto your mat. And actually, before we go down onto the mat, we're gonna do one for the hip flexors. So there's two ways you can do this. You can do this in a half kneel. You can actually double up the mat and try and soften your knee, or you can do this in a split stance, standing. Either position you take, this one, the half kneel works better, but if it bothers your knee, we can try this position. What you're trying to do is your pelvis, try to tilt the pelvis back. So we're trying to tilt back, bring that bone here upwards so you can get a stretch into the front of the hip flexors. Okay. Once you've got that, you can lean a little forward if you need to get a bit more pull. You should already have a nice pull once you've got that tilt, so make sure you get that hip tilt. What's the difference between being here and being back? And switch sides. So if you were doing this standing, this would be the exact same thing. You're just in a split stance and trying to get that hip tilt, a little bit of lean. It's a little easier to relax the muscle in your half kneel position. Just make sure you get that hip tilt before you lean forward. All right, you can lay back onto your mat. Once you lay back, just come feet together, knees together. Do whatever you want with your hands. We're just going to be doing a little warm up here, rotation. So just dropping knees off side to side. Make sure you breathe each time you do this. Okay, then hold the knees at center. You can do is cross one leg over top the other. And you've got two options. If you can, reach through. You're gonna pull the opposite thigh back. From there, try to lay back and keep this knee in line with the shoulder on that same side. Or from there, you can just pull the knee across if you're having trouble reaching forward. Once again, make sure you're breathing, relaxing the muscles where you feel the stretch and pull. And switch sides. So just try and do the same stretch that you did on the first side. Okay, next you can do is drop one leg straight. You're gonna grab the other leg behind your knee, and from here try to pull it as straight as you can. You should feel some pulling through the back of your leg, especially into your hamstring. And from there, laying back, you can pull your toes towards you to max out the stretch. It's okay if you have a bit of bend. If it's a lot of bend in the knee and you're not able to get back at all because there's too much pull, you can always bring that other foot up so you can get a little further back. And switch sides. Same thing, grab behind the knee, try to extend the leg straight, and then pull your toes back towards you. Okay, then bend that knee and keep it up. From here, what we're going to do is rotate across the body. You just want to be able to keep your shoulders on the ground. So you can even take that arm, extend out to the side, and just rotate as far as you can. Just get a nice stretch through your mid-back, maybe a little bit into your hip, depending on what's tight. Alternately, you can take the free arm and reach up overhead if you want to lengthen out the lat. Or if you're really ambitious, you can go from a straight leg and come across for a little more tougher of a stretch. And switch sides. So once again, you can go just knee over, keeping shoulders down, or you can go straight leg over, keeping shoulders down as well. All right, bring yourself back to center, and what we're gonna do now is go on to one side. And from here, you can straighten out your body as best you can. And from this position, try to go back, and you're either gonna grab your shin, pant leg, shoe, whatever you can get, and pull. So once you have your pull here, you're up in this position with your knee forward. Try and pull the knee back so you can get the central quad muscle all the way into the hip flexors. And switch sides. Now one thing with this one, if you're having trouble reaching back, you can always use a belt or a thick TheraBand or a yoga strap. Try and get the leg, and you just wrap it around the ankle and then pull from there. Optimally, we're getting into this position, pulling the knee back. All right, then you can sit up. And from here, what we're gonna do is just bring in feet together. Let's do 3 more stretches here. So bring your feet in together, try and come as close as you can, and you're either going to be pulling in and trying to push down gently with the elbows, or you can take your hands behind the back, try to shift the hips forward. If you're bringing the hands behind the back, try and straighten out your low back so you can get a little rotation in the pelvis. All right, and then you can flip over. We're gonna go onto the stomach. And from here, we've got a couple options. You can either go onto your elbows. You're trying to then just pull your chest up, trying to go into this little baby cobra, or you can try going onto your hands, trying to come all the way up. Either way that you're doing it, try and roll your shoulders back and down so you're not hiked up here Just go with whatever your low back can handle at this point. Remember, we're just going for good pull, not so much putting ourselves into a pain point. All right, and then last one we can do, go onto your, go onto knees. We got two options for this. You can go onto the knees, sit back, and try and come down, reach forward. If this is difficult on the knees, what you can do is from your back, you're just gonna be hugging in and trying to curl your low back. So you're trying to curl the low back, and lean back. Either way, we're trying to get a little low back relaxation stretch here. Yeah, that one works great. You can even let your head come all the way down to rest onto your mat. You want to get a full relaxation through your spine. Alrighty, so that's basic warm-up stretch class. This is more rehab focused, of course. If you were doing heavy exercise and activity, we'd stick to more of the dynamic motions that we did before the static holds. But other than that, have a great day.